Hi, this is the Series of Opinions podcast, episode number 19, Shipwrecked version 3, I guess, part 3 of our Shipwrecked series, the Valentine's Day episode, where we're going to talk about our favorite LGBTQ plus couples. I am Faith.
I'm KJ.
And I'm Moira.
So, to start us off this week, does anybody have any recommendations that they want to talk about?
I do.
Okay, go ahead.
I have a lot because I actually remembered a couple Hamilton-themed ones. I know we just spent 2 weeks on Hamilton, but I didn't have any Hamilton-themed recommendations then, but I actually have 2 Hamilton-themed ones.
Fun, okay.
Also, I very much want to believe the theory that Alexander Hamilton was romantically involved with John Lawrence to tie into this week's episode. So, anyways, Daveed Diggs, who plays our favorite fighting Frenchman Lafayette, and also Thomas Jefferson, also stars in the Netflix original Snowpiercer, which at the time of recording is about to start its second season, but the second season should be started by the time that this comes out.
That's definitely on my list.
Yeah, the last season was really good. It came out week by week, and I'm not sure if that's what's happening this season or if it'll all come out at once, but either way, it's a really good show about governance, and it's based on a movie that starred Chris Evans and was directed by Bong Joon-ho. I hope I said that maybe right. He's the guy that directed Parasite, and he's Korean, so I probably just butchered that really badly. But and then that movie's also based on a French graphic novel series, but all that to say that Daveed Diggs is amazing in this Netflix series. It's a science fiction story about how we froze the world trying to reverse climate change, and now the only people left alive are in this self-sustaining train that loops around the world, but like there's some real heavy classist shit happening. And it's pretty crazy. And both the movie and the show are really amazing, but they're really different from one another. But Daveed Diggs was in the show, so Hamilton.
Yeah, so that moves it up the list for me for sure.
Yeah, he plays the main character, and he's really good, and I'm really excited for the new season. And then my other Hamilton-related recommendation is Drunk History. I'm not sure where you can stream it in America, but in Canada, it's definitely available to stream on Cream, or on Crave.
Oh, I'm like, ooh, what's that?
I just combined Crave and Stream and said Cream.
Incredible.
You can cream it on Strave.
Every episode is really great, but season 4, episode 9, Lin-Manuel Miranda gets really drunk, and some reenactors have to reenact his drunk dialogue of the Hamilton and Burr interactions. And
I love it.
Good. He swears a lot. It's very funny. They stop in the middle so that Lin can have a piano break.
I love that so much.
It's really funny. There's a point where he's in the middle of telling the story of like a duel that Hamilton and Burr were both like present at. And then, like, he got a text in the middle, and, like, that got incorporated into the reenactment. It was very funny. It's a really good show.
I love that.
Yeah, I've watched a couple episodes before. I think Georgia.
Yeah, Georgia has
been
a
on
couple,
it before.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah, so definitely
Season 4,
have to watch
episode
that
9, Lin-Manuel Miranda, Alexander Hamilton. Really good.
Oh, I love it.
A few more I have. Riverdale is back. I'm not feeling super positive about this season so far, but I'm honestly curious what they decide to do, so I am sticking it out. And I also just wanted to shout out, not for the first time, XOXO Riverdale, because I'm actually mostly sticking out Riverdale so that I can enjoy XOXO Riverdale.
Fair.
And I'm hoping if we mention them enough times and I interact with them enough on Twitter, they will just invite me to record with them.
We can,
Absolutely.
You know what? We can only try.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then I maybe have an anti-recommendation this week.
Oh.
Yeah, I know I wasn't super into that Riverdale recommendation either, but this is like its own category of anti-recommendation. So, Fate the Winx saga just dropped on Netflix like a couple days ago.
I got a notification about that, actually. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, I don't remember much about the original, but it kind of feels like how Riverdale isn't really like the Archie comics.
Right.
I might be wrong about that because I literally don't remember anything that happened in the original, except that the one girl was found in a fire, and I was really afraid of fires as a child, so that stuck.
Fair.
Anyway, I already, it's like Riverdale, like with the same like dark teen drama vibe, except like the main characters are fairies and there's monsters. And anyway, I already watched all 6 episodes of the first season. And it's only been a couple days, but I just like blew through it. And it's got a lot of the same issues that Riverdale has, but I got invested in the story and I couldn't really look away. But I'm still anti-recommending it because it came out this week in 2021, and there are some elements that don't need to be present in teen dramas in 2021.
Okay, fair.
Yeah, so
I'm really glad that you said that, because
Yeah.
I mean, I saw it and I was so confused with how, I kind of just assumed it was a coincidence with, like, the Winx original and that. But
No,
it is actually a...
It's
Yeah.
like the Riverdale version of Winx.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Who in this world came up with that idea and thought that would be a good idea?
Why would you want to ruin that?
Yeah, it's... Yeah, so just wanted to highlight a few things that I don't like about
Okay.
it. So,
Okay.
the fairies have learned how to use Instagram, which is totally fine. In fact, it is a major plot device. But then they use Instagram to out a gay character, which is not great. We do not need to promote outing anybody. The show clearly did not know what they were doing.
No.
And then one of the main characters is Tara, and she's very sweet, and her powers are cool. I love her so much, but she's like the very awkward, annoying, like, I care so much about how people perceive her because she's the fat girl character, and I'm so tired of that. We do not need it. She's the only one of the girls that weighs more than 100 pounds, like, soaking wet. Like, she's not that overweight at all.
Right.
Like, at all. It's just that all the other girls are, like, super duper thin.
Oh my goodness.
And she's actually so awesome. She's the most useful. She is hands down the Hermione Granger of the show. She's the only one that knows how to do anything.
Sounds right.
Like, they all have magic that they are all capable of using, and they do use it, but, like, she's the only one who has other skills that aren't just magic related.
Right.
Yeah.
And, like, there's just no reason for, like, her to be, like, the annoying girl who turns out to be awesome later. Like, she could have just started out being awesome.
Yeah.
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 It sounds like they're kind of, like, using a lot of tropes as a crutch, kind of.
Yeah. And then if none of that discouraged you from watching it, the main male character is Sky. I'm sure the actor's a lovely human being, but he is so generic white teen male lead looking.
Oh my goodness.
He's so boring looking. There's another character who's like the male, like, he's kind of a jerk. He's kind of like dating the bad girl of the show, honestly, if the other guy wasn't such an ass, I wouldn't be able to tell the two apart. They, like, are the same. They could literally be related. They look so much alike, and, like, it's just because they look boring. They look so boring.
Oh, that's incredible.
And his storyline has some potential to get interesting, like, based on how this season ended, but, like, for the first 4 of the 6 episodes, he's mostly just there so that the new girl and the popular girl with the dark secret have something to fight about.
Wow.
Ew.
Wow.
Watch it if you want. Obviously, I watched it. I watched all of it in, like, 2 days. But, like, for a show coming out in 2021, just missed so many marks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that was interesting. I'm really glad you did that and broke it down for me, and I don't have to waste my time.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, we're already 5 seasons into Riverdale. We don't need any more, like, shows.
Riverdale already has its own section of its own trashness. Like, we don't need to be adding anything else.
Riverdale is so trashy that it comes around to being good again. Like,
exactly.
I enjoy how bad it is. Like, the things that are bad are the things I like about Riverdale, honestly.
And you've suffered through so much trash in 5 seasons that, like, you can't stop watching, but you don't need to try to replicate that. Riverdale is its own thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, yeah, this wasn't necessary at all.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, and then, just to bring it back up to a more positive note, I'm, like, in the back catalog of pretty much any podcast I listen to, I'm behind on. Mm-hmm. So I was listening to some episodes of Do You Need a Ride with Karen Kilgariff and Chris Fairbanks from, like, 2019. And it was just making me laugh so much, and I really needed it, so I just...
It's so good.
It's so good. It was, like, literally episodes from, like, 2019, but, like, really good.
They're great. And there are some episodes that they do with Chris's dad.
Oh,
I don't know if you've listened to them before.
To them.
But he is so funny, and they're all funny together, and I love that podcast.
I love that.
So definitely second that.
I love it. Yeah, that's what I got. Someone else can talk now.
Okay. So I have a few different categories of recommendations. So the first one I want to say is not really a thing. Well, it's getting up early. I want to recommend that.
Okay. Something you're enjoying.
For so long, I think I've mentioned it before, I would just, like, do school all day, and then after my family went to sleep, I would just, like, work until I couldn't work anymore, and then go to sleep, and then wake up and do it all over again.
Oh my gosh.
And so this year, like 2021, I I wanted to start getting up earlier. And so I started not allowing myself to do any work after 9 p.m. and getting up by 6:30. And you guys, it's so life-changing to have some peaceful hours in the morning, to feel, I mean, even if you don't actually do anything off your to-do list for the first couple hours, you feel so productive. And I would really like to challenge people to, like, try it even just for a week, getting up at, like, an hour even before you usually would, and just, like, see how it changes your life. I've been watching so many YouTube videos of, like, 5 a.m. wake up challenge for a week, and obviously that's kind of extreme, but I for sure want to challenge everybody to do that just for, like, 5 days or a week. It's so incredible. Like, it's absolutely life-changing. And for the first couple of days after you do it, too, you get almost, like, what I would imagine it would feel to be, like, high. You're just, like, so incredibly happy and, like, on a high from, like, I am freaking living life. So that's all I don't want to talk, I guess, too much on that because it's already long, but
I'm
definitely try that.
I think.
You definitely should. I thought I was a nighttime person, but I think I'm a morning person.
2021 has gotten away from me already in terms of organizing all the things I plan to do better in my life, and yeah, maybe this is the thing that I need. And I'm not a morning person. My parents aren't really morning people, especially my dad. Like, I was not raised to be a morning person, but maybe that's what I need to become. I need to force myself to become a morning person too.
Yeah, and if you, like, I find it's helpful to frame it as a challenge. So you're like, if I just, like, do it for 7 days straight, then I can not do it anymore. And then by the last couple days, then you actually, like, start to feel the benefits a little bit. I mean, it's really hard at first, but
Fair.
It's worth it, I think.
That's incredible.
So I also want to recommend a YouTuber that I really love. Her name is Smoky Glow on YouTube, and she's so incredible. She did a video every day in December, so I've been binging that the last couple days. And she does a lot of makeup content, but she also does, like, a lot of commentary on YouTube drama and YouTubers and YouTuber entitlement and stuff. And she just, even if you don't specifically love, like, makeup or what she's specifically talking about, what she talks about and how she talks about it is never boring. Like, she's just so good at what she does.
That sounds like a recommendation as well.
I would super, super recommend that, because I would also like to do episodes in the future about YouTubers and YouTube drama, so you guys should definitely try her content, because it's really, like, educational almost.
Yeah, for sure.
I love that.
So my last recommendation this week is a show that I actually, like, started watching by accident almost, because my parents have been watching it from the beginning, and I just, like, never watched the first few episodes, so I never really knew what was happening, and I would just leave whenever they'd want to watch it. But I started watching it, I think they're on the 3rd season, so I started watching it from the beginning of this season, and it's so good. It's called The Resident, and I'm sure you've probably seen it.
Yeah, I've heard of it. Yeah.
But it is so good.
It's, like, another medical drama, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And it's, I mean, for another medical drama, it's super good. It's got some really amazing characters, really amazingly diverse characters, some really powerful, like, badass women. Oh my gosh, it's so good. And they talk about systemic racism and stuff a lot.
Wow.
It's great. I would definitely recommend. I mean, I also haven't watched, like, the first couple seasons, so I don't know if it's only good in the 3rd season, but I'll definitely be restarting it, and it's super good. So that's all I've got this week.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I only have one recommendation this week.
That's okay. It's been long enough.
We covered a lot.
I'm gonna throw it back to episode 5 when we were talking about Alex Danvers, and I said that season 5 of Supergirl I hadn't gotten the chance to see, and it came out on Netflix this week, so that's all I've done with my life. But yeah, I want to re-recommend Supergirl and its amazingness. because it's one of the greatest shows, and I'm a huge superhero fan. But like, if you're only gonna watch one superhero show, it's Supergirl, because it has the most diverse cast. It has like badass women doing all these amazing things, and I would 100% recommend, because I absolutely adore it.
Amazing. Yeah, love all of that. Love everything you just said. I've never
Yeah.
seen it.
Okay, so I guess we should move on, because we've been talking about recommendations for like half an hour. But like I said before, we're going to be talking about some great LGBTQ plus couples that we love. Okay, I'll go, because mine is pretty long, and I'll get it out of the way. So I'm doing Callie and Arizona of Grey's Anatomy, who I super love, and was really a lot of work to research, because they have like 15 seasons of, well, not that long, but a lot of seasons of history. So the ship itself is made up of Callie Torres, an orthopedic surgeon, and Arizona Robbins, a pediatric surgeon. So they meet on episode 14 in season 5, Beat Your Heart Out. At the Emerald City bar, Arizona sees that Callie is upset and comes to the bathroom to comfort her. Arizona tells her that she's a super catch and that people will be lining up for her. And when Callie asks who, she kisses her. And that's their first kind of meeting and first kiss.
I can't believe we didn't know Arizona until season 5.
Right?
Crazy.
Yeah.
So once Arizona finds out that Erica was Callie's first girlfriend, she declines to further their relationship, because she says she works with newborns at work and doesn't want to deal with them in her personal life, which basically she's saying that she wants someone with more experience and doesn't want the quote unquote like hassle of having someone learn how to be gay with her. So after that, Callie avoids her for a while, but they end up in an elevator together, of course.
Yeah, it's Grey's Anatomy.
Arizona, I mean, everything happens in the elevators. Arizona apologizes, stating that she was wrong. She asks Callie out for dinner, thus Calzona is born. Their first I love you comes after Callie puts together this failed birthday celebration for Arizona after not realizing that it was her birthday, resulting in this super sweet scene. And this happens in season 6, episode 8. So their relationship moves pretty quick. Like, all of their biggest moments happen like within a season. It moves quick.
Yeah, things do move fast for them.
So shortly after that, they move in together. Arizona then receives the Carter-Madison grant, which I totally forgot all about the storyline. I don't know why I forgot about this plot, but...
No, I did until Moira was rewatching, and then I was like, oh yeah, that thing happened.
Yeah, it was a big Calzona thing. So since she receives this grant, it means that she'll be moving to Malawi to be a doctor there, and Arizona really wants to go. Callie wants to stay, and wants Arizona to stay, which ends up ripping them apart. Once Arizona realizes how much she misses Callie and comes back, Callie slams the door in her face, mad that she chose this grant and this job over her. Callie then, shortly after this, finds out that she's pregnant with Mark, her best friend's baby. Arizona and Callie get back together, agreeing to raise this baby together and with Mark. Through all this research, they've had a lot of back and forth. So, like, yeah. I forgot to tell you, but, like, buckle your seatbelts, because they have a lot of more back and forth and breaking up and getting back together than I even remember. So then we're taken to season 7, episode 18, Song Beneath the Song, where Callie takes Arizona for a bed and breakfast weekend after their baby shower, but they get into a car accident after Arizona proposes and takes her eyes off the road. This results in the musical episode that we talked about in episode 3.
Yeah, wow. It was episode 3. It was a long time ago.
A long time ago. But eventually the baby is delivered premature, but she's strong. Sophia, Robbins, Sloan, Torres. Callie recovers, and her first words after waking up are, "I'll marry you," to Arizona. They are then married in season 7, episode 20, called White Wedding. and they're married by Bailey, which is super beautiful and adorable. Their wedding is so cute, one of my favorites out of the whole show. Callie is walked down the aisle by Mark. It was super emotional and beautiful and one of my top favorite moments of the show. So then things are pretty good between them. It's going great. This is kind of between the wedding and what I'm about to talk about next is my favorite kind of section of their relationship. But then that brings us to season 8, episode 24, Flight, which ultimately results in Arizona losing her leg, which I think is the biggest character change that we see in Arizona throughout her time in the show. Yeah, this is, of course, the plane crash episode, and it is hard on a lot of the characters, and a couple of the characters don't survive it. But as far as, sticking with Callie and Arizona's story, like I said, Arizona has to have her leg amputated. Callie had promised her that she wouldn't lose her leg and ends up having to amputate it herself in order to save Arizona's life. So after this, Arizona goes through a really tough time and their relationship really, really suffers, nearly breaking them up multiple times throughout this. Callie tries to give her support as best that she can, and Arizona eventually seemingly learns to move on with her new life and new leg and new situation, and does apologize to Callie for being so horrendous during her recovery. But apparently she hadn't moved on. Arizona cheats on Callie, resulting in a huge fight, and Arizona reveals that she still resents Callie for taking her leg, and that had taken her trust for her away and broken that trust. So this part of Arizona's character, I think that's, it was one of the worst, writing decisions that the show made, I think. It's just so...
Girl. Wow.
Well, okay. As soon as you said that, maybe not. Maybe Alex's leaving was... Never, yeah, okay. Yeah. I step back a little bit.
We can't talk about Alex leaving every time.
But as far as ruining a character, this is definitely up there.
I agree. Mm-hmm. That, yeah, it hurts to see a character who is, as sweet and, sunshiny as Arizona, go down a dark path, but, she endured a major trauma and lost a limb.
Mm-hmm. Definitely,
that's gonna change you,
Yes, fair.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I think that the whole recovery process was super well done. Obviously she's not going to be super sunshiny when she's dealing with all of these physical and emotional recovery issues. She really, really suffered through that. Mm-hmm. But things start to get better and she starts to regain, who she is. And they have a really good section there where they're getting back together, and then it feels like the writers just needed drama, and they just decided to totally destroy Calzona. I don't know.
Fair enough.
I don't think that it's something Arizona would have did. I just
that's valid.
It was dumb. I think it was dumb. So, fair. Like I said, she cheats on Callie, and it results in this huge, well-written fight. I still don't think it was a good decision for her to, as a character. Well, it wasn't a good decision, obviously, but I don't think she, as a character, would have did it. But they have this big emotional fight, and Arizona reveals that she still resents Callie for taking her leg. So they try and work through this again. So they get back together really briefly and break up again. They attempt therapy. It just doesn't work, and they simply just can't fix what's been broken. Arizona says that she can't live without Callie, but Callie says that being with her is too suffocating and that she can, in fact, live without Arizona. My heart.
Yeah, it hurt. Yeah. It hurt, but they put in the work and it wasn't working.
I know.
Yeah.
They did they put in the effort, and sometimes it's just over.
Yeah, sometimes it's just there's too much broken. So then comes the custody battle, which is also super rough.
This is, to me, so is where things got out of hand and out of character.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well,
100%.
absolutely off the rails for everybody. Callie gets together with Perfect Penny and wants to move Sophia to New York with her to chase her for, I don't even remember, some kind of job opportunity that Penny has.
Penny also won a grant. Grant's just showing
yes.
up to ruin Callie's life.
Oh gosh, these grants. Yes, you're totally right. So yeah, overall the custody battle is super awful. Callie's lawyers end up saying some really awful, terrible things about Arizona, and I think in this plot line, Callie is overall like really selfish, wanting to uproot her poor daughter to chase this woman that she barely knows across.
It's literally across the country. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wrote that. I'm like, is that correct?
It's literally like West Coast to East Coast, like across the country.
We live in Canada, so like nobody dragged me for that hesitation. I remember being super mad at Arizona for like starting this whole like legal part of it. But like totally re-looking at all of this and writing this research and stuff, I mean, what else was Arizona supposed to do?
Yeah, that's her child.
Yeah.
Callie was super, like, I don't think she respected as much when it didn't benefit her. She didn't respect the fact that Arizona is her mother as well, and really like just didn't.
I think Owen, I mean, I rarely quote Owen on saying anything good, but I think it was Owen during this time said something like Callie always jumps fully into everything, and like that's not necessarily a bad quality, but when it comes to something like where your daughter's gonna live, like not consulting your ex and just being like, look at the schools I picked out, I'm moving our daughter across the country.
Yeah.
Like that's not a time to be jumping in with both feet. That's a time to go, okay, I really want to move and I want to know what we can work out that would be okay with you.
Exactly. She moved like so quickly and didn't involve Arizona in the decision at all. And even when Arizona tried to pump the brakes a little bit and like ask for a little bit of a compromise, Callie just like totally put the blinders on. Yeah. And so of course Arizona has to end up making it legal. Yeah. So yeah, I definitely see Arizona's side now. That I'm like, I feel like I'm a little bit older and not so, and of course at the time you're emotional, and when because I watched it, like just binged it. Yeah. Whereas, like, compared to doing it, like, week by week.
I talked to you about, like, when this episode came out and you hadn't even started the show yet. Like, I remember talking to you about this, like, at our lockers.
Yep.
And I was like, no, you don't understand. She was the adoptive mom and they gave her the kid.
No, you don't even get it. But yeah, Arizona had just cheated and everything was so emotional, and I was so mad at Arizona just in general, and why did she have to make it all legal? And it's so brutal. Like, you guys, the custody battle is so awful.
Part of this too is that Mark had died.
And that too.
Like, if Mark was still alive, then, like, A, he would have been on Arizona's side.
Yeah.
And B, he would not have allowed it to get to that point.
Very true.
He would have mediated the fuck out of it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And Callie probably would have listened to him a little bit more because, of course, like, Arizona had just hurt Callie a lot.
Yeah, there was a lot of, like, emotional things happening with the adults.
Oh, absolutely. Like,
exactly.
I think they just wanted to hurt each other, and it was bad for Sophia, I think.
Yeah.
All over.
And it was all for nothing, because you're going to tell us how this ends.
And it's all for nothing, because after a lot of, it's really rough, a rough battle, and a lot of back and forth, and a lot of pain, Sophia and Arizona gets custody, but Callie ends up still taking her to New York. It's a big back and forth, but like what ends up from this is that Arizona wants to be with Sophia, but she doesn't want Sophia to be apart from either of them. So they both move to New York.
Yeah.
To be closer to Callie, and also so both moms can be involved.
Yeah. When she, like, initially lets Sophia go with Callie, like, she's like, I obviously want my child to be with me, but, like, our child deserves to have two happy parents, and clearly you're not happy staying here just because our child is here, so you should go, and we'll figure it out. Like, we should have done in the first place.
Yeah, like, they try to do, like, summers here and, like, school year there and stuff. And
it's a good effort. It just doesn't really work because Sophia has two moms and she loves them both. And
exactly. And she ends up, Sophia has a really hard time because she is going to school there and, like, misses her friends, obviously. Like, she can't have, like, her life is just, like, totally split into two and totally uprooted, and it's really rough. So
yeah, it's not like it's like a couple of towns over. It's like literally like like New York to Seattle is
yeah
a distance.
So
yeah,
for Sophia's sake, Arizona agrees to move down there so that she can have both of her moms, but also Sophia can still have her life there.
Yeah, and it seems like we're on amicable terms, right? Like,
yes, yeah, pretty. I mean, I think Arizona handled it pretty well there at the end. It was a good decision, even though I miss her character a lot.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
So on Arizona's last episode of the show, we're left knowing that Arizona is single and Callie is now single, and that Callie is, quote-unquote, making her smile again, even though they've hurt each other more than anyone else, which is true. I mean, they both cause so much pain in each other's lives. So that's kind of the end of their story on the show, kind of a really brief, like, history, as brief as I could make it. So as far as hardships, like I said, they have been through a lot. So a couple things that I didn't mention as much were Callie and Arizona both have to overcome the hesitance of her father and the disapproval of her mother of Callie's sexuality. And that's Callie's parents.
Rough. That's rough.
It's so rough. Callie finds comfort in Arizona's standing by her side while dealing with her father's judgment, and he disowns her and drains her bank account, but eventually comes around when Arizona has this amazing speech and talks to him and shows him, like, how beautiful their love for each other really is.
It is a readjustment for parents. I think especially, like, not to generalize, but, like, dads and daughters in particular. Like, you know, dads are always supposed to, like, think about how they're gonna walk you down the aisle on your wedding day. And I think a lot of dads, when they hear that their daughters aren't interested in men, or, like, might not end up married to a man. I mean, let's be realistic. Anybody can end up not married at any point. I think that in particular, a lot of dad, like, they think they're losing that, and that they're not going to get this, and, like, that's just not true. And, like, I get it. It's a readjustment for parents. They have to readjust what their expectations were.
Yeah, and Callie, like, makes this realization about herself, like, really far into her life. Like, she was already
married before.
Exactly. And her dad has known her to be this specific way his whole life, and for Callie's whole life, and then now Callie's an adult, and I also see how that could be an adjustment for sure.
She's also, like, she's bisexual, so it's not black and white either. Like, she has a baby, like, with a man.
Exactly. Yeah, and he does eventually come around, like I said, which is, of course, like, the ultimate.
Oh, it makes me cry.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, I didn't like it.
You didn't like it?
I didn't like how awful he reacted. Like, there's reacting to the readjustment, and then there's reacting and not accepting it until it's your daughter, and then just making that readjustment for that one person. And I couldn't get over how badly he reacted to, like, enjoy it.
When I say it makes me cry, I mean, like, when he showed up at, like, the wedding, like, because he just, like, left her mom at the airport and was like, our daughter's getting married, I'll come pick you up later, like, I'm gonna be there even if you're not there, like.
Yeah.
I respect that, though. Yeah.
That's what I meant when I said it made me cry.
Yeah, for sure.
I agree. You should not ambush your children at work with pastors. That is
no.
Oh my gosh. And try to, like, convert
reaction.
them. Yeah, and try to convert them, quote unquote, like, back. It's really rough.
No.
There's no room for converting in sexuality. That's a religion thing. No. And she didn't need it because she was still Catholic.
Exactly. And then, of course, her mother doesn't come around at all. She just, like, straight up doesn't.
Yeah, we never get reconciliation on that.
Nope.
Nope, that's too bad. It's too bad that the show never got there.
Yeah. Okay, so another obstacle that they have to face is the fact that Arizona doesn't originally want kids, and Callie really, really does. They both refuse to change at the point in which they find out about each other, and this breaks them up for a while, which is it's really emotional
That's a
and really
valid
hard.
reason to break up. That is not something you can just change someone's mind on.
Very true.
No, and you shouldn't try. Like, you should
Yeah.
respect that about each other, and yeah, that was a valid reason to break up. But after the hospital shooting, they realize that they can't live without each other, and Arizona agrees that she wants to have kids with Callie because they will be their kids, which is interesting because I think that, I mean, Arizona obviously like falls in love with Sophia, but it's interesting that they had Arizona change her mind when we originally find out that Arizona doesn't want kids. It's like pretty clear. It's not like I'm thinking about it. It's that, oh no,
it's Arizona works with sick babies all day. She knows what goes wrong if your child isn't healthy. Like, she only deals with like the most sick children in the world.
The worst possible scenarios.
It's the same reason that Alex wasn't sure if he wanted kids too. Like,
exactly.
He obviously came around and decided he wanted kids, but like he wasn't sure for a long time. No, I like that she didn't want them, and I'm fine with the fact that she did eventually come around, because people do change their mind, but it's not something you can bank on. I'm gonna feel different about this later. You might never feel differently, and it's okay if one day you do, but like you can't have a relationship with someone that wants kids and then just hope that the person that doesn't want kids is gonna change their mind, because they're not. And a child deserves to be raised in a home where they're wanted.
Exactly.
Absolutely. So yes, that is another thing they go through and do end up, overcoming. Arizona, of course, loses her leg, which is a huge part of their issues, I guess. And then Arizona cheating as well, which I talked about before. So I was going to talk about in this section, but I already went there.
We went there.
Yeah. So I'll just round this out with why I think that they're a great ship. Though they have had to overcome countless hardships, like so many things that they've broken up over and gotten back together, I really believe that their love between them is so strong and real. I don't know if it's the chemistry that the actresses have together or just the ways the characters interact, but I think it's so strong, and like their love is so pure itself. When they're at their peak, healthiest part, I think that their love is just so great.
Even when they're like, when they get divorced and like it's like over like, aside from like what they eventually then like with the custody, but like aside from that, they are really good co-parents when they're divorced as well. Like
very true.
Like, they respect each other. Like they have
exactly.
Sometimes it's okay, like you love someone, but like your relationship just isn't working anymore, and it's just better if you just break up. Like
yeah, exactly. Because they care about each other so much, and I just feel like they're so well balanced that their relationship is just. I love their relationship when it's at its healthiest.
Yeah.
If they can, if we can assume that they can reconcile and really like put the past behind them and all of their worst parts behind them, I think they're a really good ship, and I think they're overall really good for each other. They both have had to give and take a lot in the relationship, and things have been really rough at times, and a lot of pain and a lot of yelling. But I think when they eventually do forgive each other and put their love for each other above what's happened, I think it can, I don't know, I hope it can work. I think without the circumstances that have happened to them, like the Grey's Anatomy catastrophe train that is the show, the plane, the everything, the shooting, like I don't think that without the plane and the Arizona's leg, I don't think that they would have ended up getting divorced.
I agree. I think that if that hadn't happened, they would have stayed together. But yeah, like sometimes trauma just fries all your relationships.
It does
like,
happen.
That happens. Yeah. And sometimes that's part of the healing process, is you just have to start over fresh. Like it's awful and it's really hard for everybody, but sometimes that's just
totally traumatic and life-changing.
Yeah.
So, I think that, like I said before, the cheating storyline was, I personally think, was out of character, and, of course, ultimately ended up tanking the relationship, which at the time seemed to be mending and healthy, finally, after everything with her leg and the plane crash. In conclusion, I really hope that they're happy in New York and living a really peaceful, mundane, and uneventful life together with Sophia, and that they will someday get a spin-off where Joe moves to New York and wants a fresh start and we get to see them again.
Absolutely.
The end.
Okay, now that you're done, Grey's Anatomy news, there's a big rumor that Arizona might be back for an episode. Jessica Kashoff posted a picture of herself wearing a New York t-shirt and people started freaking out.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my god. I almost passed out just now.
Yeah, that was a lot of air intake and
yeah, and no exhale.
no exhale. Yeah, so that's a rumor.
Ooh, thank you for that
around.
news.
I love that.
Ooh.
Also,
okay.
that was great. That was
That's fantastic.
Thank you. Yeah, I love them a lot, and
I hope we
miss
find
them.
out that they're back together in New York.
Yeah.
Oh my
and
god,
that they're
what
happy.
The
if?
dream.
What if they were back together in New York
Or at
and
least
Joe
that
moves
they're
there
just
because she
both
wants?
fine, both happy.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know
Okay.
how they would justify her flying from New York to Seattle in this climate, but
No, I don't know. I don't know either.
yeah. I don't really care though, to be honest.
Yeah.
No, just make it work. I mean,
Yeah. Get us there.
get us there. Okay, who wants to take over?
I can.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay. My ship's gonna be relatively short this week because my ship was only a thing for 2 episodes. Only officially
Oh.
a thing. So it's mostly gonna be background and then a little bit. I really wanted to do a whole involved ship like Calzona, but this one just made me really happy.
Yeah, girl. Yeah.
So thank you to the fandom Teen Wolf Wikia for having pretty much all the information in one spot for me because it was great.
Amazing.
So the ship that I'm doing is Jackson Ethan or Jathan from Teen Wolf. So it's Jackson Whittemore and Ethan Steiner. I had to look up Ethan's last name. It was never mentioned on the show once,
Wow.
a single time. So, Jackson was portrayed by Colton Haynes, who Moira probably knows as Roy Harper from Arrow.
I do. I love him so much.
So Jackson was one of the original cast members of Teen Wolf in the first 2 seasons. He is originally portrayed as a jock who's got everything going for him, rich parents, he's dating the hottest and smartest girl in the school, he's athletic, he's really suspicious of the show's protagonist Scott, and above all, he's ungrateful and pissed about all the privilege that he has. One of them. We're not really supposed to like him in the first season for sure. But we come to find out that Jackson's got some deep-seated emotional trauma and insecurity. He learned when I think when he was 12, he learned that his biological parents died in a car accident. He was actually born after his mother's death. She was
goodness.
pregnant,
Oh,
and they
wow.
his parents were in a car accident, and then they took him out because she was dead.
Wow.
Oh.
Yeah,
I'll do it.
Yeah, so when he was 12, he found out he was adopted and that his parents were dead. And he, essentially emotionally unattached from his parents,
Yeah.
that
Right.
were raising him. He was just, emotionally detached. He
Wow.
has he's very much an overachiever in school and sports, and a lot of that is, attributed by his parents to his insecurity about his origins, and, he's just not emotionally available to them. They have no idea really, what he's feeling in his life. He is really somewhat attached to his girlfriend, Lydia Martin, even though he's, often unnecessarily cruel or, ungrateful towards her. He does have some real strong emotions towards her, and, to the point that their love kind of saves his life in the second season. Jackson wants to be turned into a werewolf. People in Teen Wolf who want to be werewolves are rarely well suited to it, and Jackson's not. So his deep-seated emotional trauma causes werewolf turning to go wrong, and he's turned into a Kenema, which is more reptilian than lycanthrope. So things are bad. Watch the show. We don't have time to get into all of that. It's go really bad. His parents don't know about most of this, but he eventually ends up as a Kenema beta werewolf hybrid at the end of season 2. And his parents don't really know about anything that's going on, but they just know that there's been some issues. Jackson was pronounced dead twice.
Wow.
And yeah, he's fine. But they decide they're just gonna move from California to London, England for the rest of Jackson's high school career.
Right.
And so he left at the end of season 2, and that was that. And then Ethan we didn't meet until season 3, so they never intersected in the initial part of the show. Like I said, I had to Google Ethan's last name. It's Steiner. Ethan and his twin Aiden were portrayed by Maxa and Charlie Carver, who are very good looking. Highly recommend looking. allegedly there's a third brother, but I think it might be an Olsen twin situation because I can't find a picture that has all three of them. And they look suspiciously alike, considering the third brother wouldn't be a twin. Anyway, we don't know a lot about their lives before season 3, but we do know that they're werewolves. They used to be at the bottom of their pack, so they killed their entire werewolf pack and became alpha werewolves. And they joined the alpha pack, because it's a pack of werewolves that are all alphas, because, you know, a bunch of leaders is going to work out well.
Yeah, I was going to say, that sounds like a good idea.
They just basically go to town, and they're like, if you don't kill your pack and, like, join us, and then we'll just wipe your whole pack out. You'll die, and so will they, so you might as well kill them and join us for the power.
Wow.
Yeah. Anyway, they manage this by because they have a super cool power. Because they're like twins, they can like combine themselves into one super large, super strong werewolf, which is pretty awesome.
Dang.
They can merge into one body and be like super strong.
Wow.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. Ethan was one of the show's first gay relationships with Danny, who was Jackson's former best friend, who had been out since the beginning of the show. Like, Danny's initial character introduction was as a gay man. He's been out since the show started. So they started dating, and there was a lot of conflict between Ethan and the show's main protagonist, because, you know, he was part of the pack that was there to kill them. But his relationship with Danny is, like, one of the things that kind of start to, like, open doors and, like, make them have things in common. Like, everybody kind of likes Danny. He's not really, like, super involved. He's kind of, like, neutral. So his relationship with Danny kind of gives him, like, doubts about what they're doing. There's a big fight, and Ethan and Aiden lose their cool power to merge and their alpha werewolf status when the alpha werewolf pack was defeated, but they stick around town to try and befriend Scott and the other, like, main protagonists in the show. And then Ethan's twin Aiden was killed at the end of season 3, so Ethan leaves town. And then so like, they were only, like, around for, like, a season or two.
Mm-hmm.
I guess, like, one season. And then how the show brings this all back together is amazing. So, in season 6, episode 17, which is called Werewolves of London, it opens with Ethan standing, like, at the window in a suit in his apartment, which, oh boy, it's a sight. Ethan's, like, leaving a series of increasingly annoying voicemails for his boyfriend because it's their 1-year anniversary and they've got tickets to a show. This episode aired in September of 2017, and Ethan has apparently spent the whole year that he's been with his boyfriend trying to get them tickets, so I'm convinced that they were about to go see Hamilton.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
It's not mentioned what show they're going to see, but in my head, it's 100% Hamilton.
Oh, absolutely.
And so as he's leaving these voicemails, they miss the doors, like the doors are closed, they're gonna miss the show. The door busts open and some werewolf hunters throw Jackson onto the apartment floor. And that's how we find out that they've been together for a year. Because we haven't seen them in, like, a few seasons. So there's this fight scene because Jackson is part Kanama. The regular wolfsbane doesn't work on him. So Ethan's, like, totally incapacitated because of the wolfsbane. And Jackson just beats the crap out of the people that have kidnapped him. And he destroys half the things in their flat while Ethan is, like, weakly trying to be like, not the vase, not the lamp. I just hung those picture frames. Meanwhile, you know, his boyfriend's, you know, fighting for their lives. And, you know, he's saying this as though dying might be better than smashing their vintage vases.
Wow.
It's my favorite thing. So they keep bickering about how Ethan thought that Jackson missed their anniversary while they interrogate the hunters, and, like, it's amazing. They decided they're going to come back to Beacon Hills to help out because, you know, these people came to get them for a reason. They immediately get kidnapped again before anybody knows that they're in town because Jackson's an idiot. he thought that he was getting complimented on, like, he thought that he was, like, known. Someone was like, are you Jackson Whittemore? And he's like, obviously I'm Jackson Whittemore, the lacrosse player that used to go to school here. Obviously, I can't believe you recognize me. And, like, no, someone trying to kidnap him.
Yeah.
So they immediately get kidnapped again. And then while they're being held captive and tortured, Ethan's still making fun of Jackson because of how he got them caught by these people. And I just think it's why I love them so much, because they're so cute. Like, they, like, literally never stop teasing each other. Aww. It's so funny. So at some point they get separated, and Jackson's looking for Ethan when he's reunited with his former girlfriend, Lydia Martin, who is thrilled and unsurprised that Jackson's been dating a man for a year. Her reaction is, oh my god, I thought you would never figure it out. And it's this really funny and cute coming out because Lydia is so great about it, and also because Styles is there, and he and Lydia are, like, endgame. And he's always been jealous of Jackson because they used to date. And also a little bit bi-curious, so I'm sure he's, like, a little disappointed to find out he missed a chance with Ethan. But his reactions are hilarious. Dylan O'Brien has the best acting face. And then Jax and Ethan, they both get taken out in the final battle that they're back for because they're looking for each other and they get turned to stone. But once the evil that they're fighting is defeated, they get turned back and everything's good. And then in the last episode, we get a brief flash of them back on their window balcony thing. And Ethan, like, puts his arms around Jackson from behind, and it's cute. That's it. They're adorable and happy, and they have a great apartment. Their apartment has a view of Big Ben. Like, it's like a primo real estate apartment.
Wow.
And they look so fucking good together, and they're so cute. And apparently, they, like, look for other werewolves to try and like make sure that they're like safe and they're like not hurting anyone. They're like in control. Like that's what they do. They just kind of keep track of where there's other werewolves and how they're doing. So I think that's so cute, and they're just like a really cute couple. Like they're only a couple for a couple of episodes, but it's amazing. It was amazing.
That's amazing.
Like these two characters we haven't seen in like a couple of seasons, and then we find out that they've been dating for a year. And
yeah, that's
it was
great.
Just beautiful. So that's Jackson and Ethan. They're an amazing couple, and I love them. And I hope that they're still doing okay.
I love that. I like that it was like short and sweet, and they have like a wrapped up almost story. Like I liked it.
Yeah,
that was good.
Moira.
Okay. Yeah, Moira. Wanna go ahead?
Yes, I'm so excited to talk about my couple. So I'm doing Elena and Sid from One Day at a Time. I didn't not get to talk about them in our One Day at a Time episode because they hadn't been introduced, and it was driving me crazy.
I'm at the point where I've met Sid at least one time, so I'm excited.
I'm
Yay.
so excited. So Elena is played by Isabella Gomez, and Sid is played by Sheridan Pierce. And so for context, Elena uses the pronouns she and her throughout the show, and Sid is non-binary, so they use the pronouns they and them. So Elena comes out to her family as gay in season 1, episode 10, and we have that part of the thing for the rest of the end of season 1. And then we first get to see Elena meet Sid in season 2, episode 3, titled To Zur with Love. And Zur is a pronoun that people who are gender nonconforming can use if they want. So their first episode together, Elena has started a Feminist Gamers of Echo Park group. Elena had like a crush on a Danny, but then she found out that she had a girlfriend. At the end of the episode, Sid approached Elena and asked her if she wanted to split a cookie with them, which basically was like telling her that she liked her. Elena is very confused at first, so Sid thinks Elena is straight until Elena says, "No, wait, me gay." And Sid replies, "Me gay too." And then they share the cookie, and it's so cute.
It is adorable. Oh. And also, I only want to be asked out with cookies from now on.
Exactly.
Yes. Anything else, and the answer is no.
Men, women, I'm here. Bring me cookies. Thank you.
Yeah. Exactly. So their first date is in the episode Lockdown. They're planning to go to Comic-Con, and someone want to take me on a date to Comic-Con, please?
Yes, what a great first date. Oh my god. A bit of a commitment.
Yes. I already freaking love them. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They end up not getting to go because they're in like a lockdown thing with Elena's whole family.
Oh god.
So, fun awkwardness there. It's like very awkward, but at the end of the episode, they talk about each other's nerves for their first date, and then the two of them kiss, and it's very sweet. Another important moment for them in season 2 is the homecoming episode. So Sid is homeschooled and they want to go to homecoming, so they do this very cute homecoming proposal to Elena. Elena, however, tells Sid that she is popular when she is not, and then spends the entire night trying to convince them that she is. Sid gets concerned since Elena has not introduced them to any of her friends throughout the entire time of homecoming. But at the end of the episode, Elena explains to her that she does not have many friends at school, and then introduces Sid to her friend who is a teacher.
Aww.
Which is very sweet.
Yes. That gives me Amy Santiago vibes.
Yes. So after season 2, they get much better at communication. A lot of the show is them learning how to communicate with themselves, which I really appreciate because they're in high school, so communicating is hard.
Yeah.
So one of my favorite scenes between Elena and Sid is in season 3, episode 2. They spend the majority of the episode trying to brainstorm ideas of what to call Sid, because Sid is not Elena's girlfriend since they are non-binary. So the two of them are trying to come up with a new term for them. So some of the names that like get thrown are My Everything, Gay of Sunshine, which I love, like lovers and partners. Yeah.
That is so cute.
What do they settle on? I'm curious.
They end up deciding on Syd-nificant Other. And I think it's adorable.
That's so cute.
I love it so much.
Yeah, I also don't love the gender terms for partners, so.
No.
Yeah. Like, easiest way to be an ally is start calling your significant other, your partner, significant other, so that it's normalized and people don't have to out themselves whenever they're talking about the person.
Right.
Easiest thing to do.
I really enjoy the term spouse for people who are married or common law. I really think that is the correct term that we should all be using, at least.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love that. That's so important to talk about. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So another important moment in their relationship is their first time. So like the two of them figure out that they're not getting enough time alone together, and they decide to get a hotel room together. And they talk about how consent and how it's Elena's first time, but it's not Sid's. And they also tell each other they love each other, and it's very cute. I love this episode so much.
I'm already in the middle of binging this show, but I want to binge it like 8 times faster. I'm in love.
Yeah.
You're welcome. So in the first episode of season 4, which got moved to a new series, and there's only 6 episodes of this season, so I'm a little sad, but I'm excited. So they're talking about how they plan to break up when both of them start college. And something very sweet about their relationship is that they always both try to do the most rational thing, but sometimes they have like a lot of trouble because feelings, especially for each other, get in the way. It's very cute.
Feelings do exist. As much as you try to be rational about things, feelings do exist.
They try to be like the perfect couple and like make all these decisions like the rational way, and then they're like, wait, but we care about each other. It's very, very cute. So Alex, Elena's brother, points out that they barely spend a day apart. How are they just going to break up? Aww. And they realize that they have not fully thought this through and decide to try and spend 2 days apart. They both cave within a day and decide to be those people and stay together in college, which is so cute.
I love that so much.
Yeah.
I heart that is a common thing for like, especially like people that are in like not straight relationships. I feel like breaking up when you go to college is a thing.
Yeah.
When you're going to be exposed to more people than you've been exposed to. I mean, they live in LA, so I imagine there is like a higher percentage of people that aren't straight than where we're from, but like I feel like that is a thing that all couples like go through. Business relationships are hard, high school relationships into college is hard, but like I feel like in particular with like non-straight couples, that's a thing.
It's definitely difficult and different. So ultimately I think they are a super great couple and super adorable. I think honestly they're one of the best represented teen couples on TV in general, because they not only do the sweet and awesome, but they also do the awkward moments and the weird conversations that come with being a teenager and in young relationships where you have to talk about things that you've never talked about with people before because it's your first relationship. And I think that's so important that we don't get to see in many teen relationships. And I think that's really great.
They're amazing. I already love them, and I've literally only seen like the cookie scene.
That is so special. I freaking ship it so hard, and I'm not even that far. Oh my gosh, that was so cute.
I love
Elena's
them so
coming out storyline was so good. Like,
it's so beautiful.
And it's continuing to be good. Coming out isn't something like, as much as, like I basically, I said this when I did my whole podcast thing, like I don't want to be doing it all the time. It isn't something you just do one time.
It's continuous.
Okay, so KJ, what do you think? Do you want to do your little?
Oh yeah, It's
a little talk.
Yeah, I am gonna monologue here a little bit.
Okay, I would like that. I think it's important.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I have a little monologue about why LGBTQIA plus representation is important on TV. Obviously not just relationships, but just characters in general. There's a lot of characters I like that I don't appreciate the relationships that they're in. You know, some of them aren't the healthiest relationships. They're not an Elena and Sid. And we need to be thinking about that. But a big criticism from generations older than us, and somehow probably our generation as well, is the so-called gay agenda, the representation of storylines involving gender and sexuality, diverse characters in a much more visible way. It's with a lot of time and effort becoming more and more common staple in the up-and-coming and long-running TV and film of our time, you know? Like, long-running shows that maybe didn't have it at the beginning are starting to adopt it, and, you know, new shows are adopting it from the start, hopefully. And, you know, some people have an issue with this, but here's the thing. The queer community exists. If there's one thesis in this podcast, it's that the content and presentation of stories matters, be it in music or books or films or movies or in any other way in which we can convey a story. TV is not trying to turn people gay with some agenda. They're just trying to tell the stories of the human condition as humans exist on spectrums of gender and sexuality with diverse race and ethnicity and religious affiliation or lack of thereof of those things, you know? We're just showing you what exists in the world.
Exactly.
If we don't have queer characters, it's the same as having an all-white cast or an all-male cast. You're only representing one kind of story, and people are just not all the same. Media, especially in shows designed for younger audiences, plays a huge role in shaping how we perceive the outside world, especially for teens and young adults, and especially those living in, like, small, largely homogenous communities. If you feel that everyone around you is cisgender and straight, which probably isn't actually true, but, you know, sometimes that's the way it feels, and all you ever see on TV are straight and cis individuals, then it feels really hard to reconcile your own feelings about an identity that isn't straight or cis.
Exactly.
Having a character that is transgender or bisexual or asexual or non-binary, the world needs more asexual characters, by the way. Then just having someone act that out on screen can at least give you a reference point for which you can model, or at least just show you that you're not the only person feeling that way. And it may seem ridiculous that you need to have all these characters in order to feel seen in society, but it's honestly really helpful when you're talking to people, especially people who aren't super educated about the gender and sexuality that you have, to be able to point to a character, especially a well-written character, and be like, okay, you know this character? Yes, this is what I am like. For me, I use Callie from Grey's Anatomy a lot as well, because, you know, lots of people know her. She's recognizable. She's mostly well written. I also use Brooklyn Nine-Nine's Rosa Diaz a lot. I feel like both those shows put real effort into developing their characters and storylines. Their bisexuality isn't the only part of their character. Brooklyn Nine-Nine in particular is great because Rosa Diaz is played by Stephanie Beatrice, who is also bi. So, like, the actor's also bi, so that's really great. And then the other big thing is that there's a burden of representation. We talked about this in episode 8 when we were talking about dumb boy heroes. But in case you've forgotten, that's when a group is or has been underrepresented in the media. So every instance of representation speaks for the whole group, which is much more diverse. And then we run the risk of stereotypes about the LGBTQ plus community. So like I said, representation is important in giving us models of behavior. So if those models portray queer characters with negative stereotypes, then that's not great. It's not helpful. We need LGBTQ plus writers and producers behind the characters. I'm white and cis, so I could write about someone who's black or trans, but honestly, my experiences are not their experiences, and at the very least, I would need to talk to people who actually belong to those communities, and ideally, I would have people from those communities tell the story themselves, and just cut me out. I'm unnecessary in that scenario.
Yeah.
In all honesty, though, like, a lot rests on us as viewers of content, or, you know, readers, or, you know, however we're consuming whatever media. The more that we watch something, the more content we get about similar content. So there are a million police procedurals and medical dramas on the air. Why? Because they get views. So if we, as viewers, engage with media that features diverse characters or diverse cast, or, you know, preferably both, and if you, as a consumer of media, find that the inclusion of those characters or racially diverse characters to be intrusive or over the top, you need to consider why you feel that way. That's something you need to think about for yourself. Every single Hallmark Christmas movie features two typically bland heterosexual white people.
Oh my god!
Joy
One
and
more
hope.
Commercial. Oh gosh!
One who has joy and hope and small town grit, and one who's consumed by corporate compliance and has given up on love or Christmas spirit. But you know what? We keep watching those, and they keep making them. And
Yeah.
you know what? If that was the only depiction of white, straight, cis people, we'd all find that over the top too. But
Yeah.
it's not. So we need more characters that are racially diverse, gender diverse, sexuality diverse. You know, we need them. We need to have these characters in these relationships, and we need to talk about what they do right and when they miss the mark on something, because that's the only way that we're going to coexist with the other people, is if we actually exist in the same spaces. And that was originally all I planned to say. And then last night I was reading a Twitter thread by Alex Petronovia. I hope I said that right. You can find them at Alex Petronovia, and I'll put the link for the thread in the show notes as well. And it was this thread on LGBTQ plus history and how the colors pink and blue became gendered the way that we know them today as like a direct outcome of the Holocaust. It went into some other topics. Just go read the thread because it's really informative and great.
Yeah, wow.
And it made me want to add something else, because like all young people in the LGBTQ plus community are looking to the media for guidance. Also, Gen Y and Gen Z don't have that many actual role models to guide us. The AIDS epidemic effectively wiped out the LGBTQ plus community, like, more than most people know.
Yeah.
Every time I think I understand how bad things were, I hear a different account that makes me go, oh, it was way worse.
Yeah.
There was no one offering to help. People were doing their best in a lot of cases to make things worse.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, because the thing about AIDS is, like, it's not really what kills you. You get a cold and that kills you. And, like, landlords would turn off the heat and, like, so that their tenants would get sick and die because, you know.
Oh my gosh.
It was mostly
That's
gay.
awful.
It was mostly gay people that got AIDS because,
Right.
you know, of the way that it spread through the community. And yeah, I'm so thrilled, obviously, that, you know, we've got antiretrovirals now, but we still don't have a vaccine.
Mm-hmm.
It's been 40 years. Like, we made a COVID vaccine in, like, less than a year, but, like, it's been 40 years and there's no vaccine for AIDS.
Wow.
And, you know, so effectively, you know, for the millennials and now us and Gen Z, we were and we still are kind of starting over.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so, like, there isn't, like, an elder part of this community. Obviously, you know, there are elder people that are not straight or that are not gender conforming, obviously. But a lot of the people that should be in that community, that should be in our elder generations, they were killed by this disease that went through our community. And so,
Yeah.
you know, we really are starting over. And so if you really are opposed to the LGBTQ plus community having centralized stories, then, you know, this wasn't the podcast episode for you, clearly. But also, there's a really incredible CBC miniseries about the AIDS epidemic called Unspeakable, and it's about how Canada mishandled the AIDS epidemic and our blood supply for people with hemophilia and other conditions that require blood products. So it doesn't really focus on the LGBTQ community. Like, they're kind of present, but they're more of a background. It's not really the focus. It's kind of like a different take on another community that was really impacted by the AIDS epidemic, and it's really good. You can stream that on CBC. It's just like an 8-episode series. But back to the main point, TV can and should 100% be putting in the effort to be diverse and inclusive, because we will all be better off for it. Even if you don't personally identify with a character or a storyline, it might at least expose you to the idea that people are individuals and experience something outside of what you experience. And love is love regardless of gender identity or sexual orientation or skin color or culture or language. And some people could really use that reminder. And that's my rant.
Wow. Whoever's editing this, insert an audience clap here.
Yeah.
Good job. That was so eloquent and important and impactful.
Yeah.
So thank you for doing
feel
that.
Feel free to add if I missed a point there or something. But
that was wonderful.
Yeah.
No, I'm inspired.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, thank you for that, KJ. That was wonderful.
Incredible.
And I'm really glad that we included that. I think it's really important to talk about all of that
Absolutely.
all together. And while we're talking about LGBTQ community, kind of include why it's important and all of that greatness that you mentioned. So thank you again for that. So to round out the episodes, we'll do a couple of ender segments. So I don't know if you guys, did you do Love It or Lose It this week? I had a couple.
Yeah, I kind of do.
Okay, so I can start with mine.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just, so Love It or Lose It, like we do every week, is one thing that we loved and one thing we'd rather get rid of or didn't love as much. So this week for mine, I put as my love just the overall Calzona chemistry and their relationship pre-plane crash, I think, is wonderful and just warms my heart. And then lose it, of course, like I mentioned before, Arizona cheating, I think, was out of character and really tanked the relationship even more than it was already tanking. So those are mine for this week.
Yeah.
KJ, you want to go ahead?
Sure. One thing I loved, I mean, obviously I loved the whole fight scene where Jackson was just wrecking their flat, and Ethan's like, no, not this. It is so funny. And then, yeah, Jackson's just like, can't believe you forgot our anniversary, and then they kiss, and it's just like, oh my god, Jackson Whittemore is kissing a boy. And it's amazing. It's like this whole, like, oh my god, it came around moment. It's really good, and I love their relationship. And then I lose it. It's probably that Jackson was a bit of a jerk to his girlfriend when he had a girlfriend. That's kind of sucks.
Yeah, that does suck.
She's one of the most amazing people on the show, and she used to like pretend to be dumb and like pretend she wasn't that smart, and it turns out she's like a friggin' genius. So
wow.
Yeah, she really came into her own once they were out of the relationship, but they did genuinely care for one another. So I am glad that they had that relationship, because there was some genuine care there.
Nice. Yeah,
it was really nice.
Moira?
I did not prepare. And so I love just everything about this relationship, about Elena and Sid so much. And I can't even think of something that I don't like about their relationship off the top of my head, because they're so great. Yeah,
I already love Elena, and I'm really excited to get to know Sid better. They seem like they're going to be a great character.
I ship it so hard. And
Me too.
Like I said, I'm not even there yet. So, I love it. Okay, and then I think we're going to skip randomized rankings for this week. We'll just move on to I Would Name My Kid That, which for the shipping episodes, we do either names that we like from our ship recap, or we do the potential baby names that we think would work for kids of our ship. So for my ship, which again was Calzona, I thought that maybe for their kids, I think, or if they have another kid, I think, of course, Mark would be really cute.
Yeah.
If they named them after him. Yeah. And then I couldn't get the name Sailor out of my head because of like Good Man in a Storm kind of thing from the like famous like Arizona speech. Yeah. So I had that in my head, and then I also thinking about like how I want their life to be. Like really beautiful and mundane and happy. I thought that it would be really nice if they like adopted a baby or did whatever and named them Harmony. I think would be really cute.
That's cute.
Because like their life is now in harmony.
I think if they had another child, they would probably adopt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Probably, I would imagine.
Callie,
because Arizona doesn't want to be
pregnant, and Callie can't be. So
yeah. So that's what I thought for my ship.
That's really cute.
That's amazing.
Thanks. Yeah, I love them so much.
Honestly, Jackson and Ethan, they're a little bit young to be having children.
Yeah, fair.
They're only like a year, maybe 2 years out of high school. So they're a little on the young side. But I think definitely if they have a boy, Aiden for Ethan's twin that died would be high up on the list. And then for a girl, I feel like maybe Lydia, after Lydia, or like, I forget, we found out the name of Jackson's parents that he didn't ever know. And I feel like maybe that. I don't remember what their names were, and I forgot to look them up, but I feel like maybe after them.
Yeah, that would be cute.
But I could definitely see Lydia. Like, Lydia and Jackson definitely had a real connection. And like, I don't want to like describe. Obviously, he's in a very loving relationship with Jackson, and I ship them so hard together. Jackson is not in a relationship with himself. He's in a relationship with Ethan.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously, like, they just have this like magical relationship. But like, I don't want to discount the fact that like Jackson used to be involved with Lydia, and like there was an emotional attachment there. That I think
like
I think doesn't go away just because you're in a relationship with someone else. Like,
yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm.
They were so happy when they were reunited. Like,
yeah, they can still mean a lot to each other.
Yeah. Like, she like ran to him like when she realized it was him, and then like he like hugged her, and then he was like, "We gotta go find Ethan," and she's like, "Okay, yeah, we gotta go find Ethan." And so so I think that you know she would still have a place in their running of potential names for children.
Yeah. I think that's really cute. Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Sure. Moira, did you have any?
So they're both in high school, so they're
pretty
definitely
young,
not
too.
discussed that. But I figured that they would pick a very gender neutral name, so
Yes,
I looked some up, and I really like the name Blake or Parker because those are really very cute names.
That's cute. Yeah. Yeah, they seem like
and it's
people.
not. Yeah, for sure. And it's not like super generic, like has been used a million times. Gender neutral names. Like I really like those a lot for either whatever gender, non-gendered. I love.
I really like non-gendered names. Like that's my preference most of the time.
I think they're really important for sure.
Because you don't know.
Exactly.
Honestly. You never
Exactly, and you shouldn't put your child into a box right from birth.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, like, if I have a child and they still want to change their name if they decide that, like, their biological sex doesn't match their gender identity, then, like, and they want to still change their name, it's fine, but I think it'd be nice if they had a name where they didn't feel like they had to change it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I understand, like, changing your name can, like, be part of the, like, feeling like you're working towards that transition, but, like, also, you know, if you already have a pretty gender neutral name, maybe you don't feel the need to change it. And, like,
exactly.
Who am I to say how, like, a baby should feel about their identity?
Exactly.
We put so much on children and babies, like.
Yeah, but that's another another topic for a whole nother day. Okay, so any last recommendations before we wrap it up?
No, I really hit us with a lot off the start.
Yeah, we had a pretty hefty recommendations.
I mean, obviously
this week.
the 3 shows that we just talked about.
Of course, definitely. Yeah, I mean, thank you for sticking through if you haven't watched at least one of these 3 shows that we just talked about, but definitely recommend all 3.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's been our episode then this week. You've been listening to the Series of Opinions podcast. Let us know what you thought about this week's episode, this week's content, all the couples, all the really important topics that we covered. Leave us a review and share us around with everybody if you'd like. If you like the episode and like the podcast, it really does help. Or get in touch with us on social media. Our email is seriesofopinionspod@gmail.com, @seriesofopinions on Tumblr and Instagram, and we are @seriesofopinion on Twitter with no S. You can find me @MissFaithAnn across everything and @FaithAnnArt for all of my art things. KJ, where can they find you?
You can find me at Life Messes of KJ everywhere, and please contact me and let me know if I made a goof in that whole TED talk I just gave. Or if you thought it was good, also let me know, because I want to know that I'm doing things correctly or if I'm doing them wrong. Obviously, I don't speak for all people in the community, like, you know, I don't even speak for all bisexual people. I barely even speak for myself, so.
But you're still doing a great job doing that, so.
Yeah, so
thank you
let me know what you thought about all of that. Or, you know, if you just want to chat, I'm happy to chat with you about this.
Did you say your handle?
Yes, I did, but I'll say it again.
Okay.
Life Messes of KJ.
I don't know what my brain is doing. Moira, what about you?
You can find me at Moira_Frisk on everything.
Okay, thanks so much for listening and have a wonderful day.
This episode was written, produced, and recorded by us. Our logo is by Faith Ebert, who you can find at FaithAnnArt. And this episode was edited by Editing KJ and Editing Moira. And we'll be back next week with an episode on mythical biology.
Bye!
Bye!
Bye!